I think the WNBA narrative right now is Caitlin Clark, and I think that's a good narrative, but it's also not the only narrative.
I ain't answering no Caitlin Clark questions.
Did she say anything?
I don't know what she said.
What'd you say to her?
I didn't say anything.
That's enough. We're good.
She's good.
When you literally go on Twitter and you search Rookie of the Year, Angel Reese, it is like everybody talking about why she's not a good basketball player. Yes, okay, a lot of her rebounds are her own rebounds, but she's having a historic season just like Caitlin Clark is, and I think that she deserves a lot more credit than what she's getting.
Can we stop? See, so that right there is part of the problem. Let's stop comparing her to Caitlin Clark. Like, let's not.
I'm saying people are doing that. So I said she's having a historic season just like Caitlin Clark.
Just because of one single game. And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
Caitlin Clark is changing the game, and not everyone's cheering. Caitlin Clark is the name lighting up every headline in women's basketball. She's not just a star, she's a movement, packing arenas, breaking records, and turning casual fans into diehards. But as her popularity soars, so does the backlash. For some, Clark's rise has been a bit too fast, a bit too loud, and not everyone is clapping. From skeptical veterans to outspoken commentators, a wave of criticism has followed. Her from college into the WNBA, and while some of it touches on basketball, a lot of it doesn't. So what's really going on here? Clark's arrival shook up the league. Some veterans felt she hadn't earned it yet, that the attention she brought was more media frenzy than merit. Early on, before she found her rhythm, critics were quick to paint her as overhyped, pampered, even soft. In a league built on toughness, Clark became a target, literally. On the court, the welcome wasn't exactly warm. Opponents began sending hard fouls and brutal hits, often with no basketball reason behind them. It wasn't just about stopping a scoring run, it was about sending a message. The most notorious incident, a blow from Chicago skyguard Chennedy Carter, who blindsided Clark while the ball wasn't even in play. The hit wasn't part of the game, it was personal. Clark hit the floor, fans erupted online, and media outlets demanded answers. But Carter stood firm, brushing it off as just competition. But let's be honest, there's more to it. That moment wasn't just about defense. It was a flashpoint in a growing tension between the old guard and the league's new face. Now, the question is bigger than basketball. Can the WNBA embrace its brightest young star, or will the internal hostility push her away? Clark's passion and presence are undeniable, but if the league can't protect her, they risk losing a generational talent. And with that, the future of women's basketball could hang in the balance.
I'm going to compete no matter who you are and no matter who's in front of me. So that's just what it was. Heat of the moment play, we're getting at it, we're going back and forth. It's basketball, it's all hoops. After we finish the game, it's all love. I don't have any regrets with any.
For the now infamous hit, Chennedy Carter didn't walk back her actions. Instead, she doubled down. Her explanation came off less like a defense and more like a personal jab, loaded with attitude and dripping with disrespect. Rather than acknowledging the impact of her actions, Carter used a moment to take aim at Caitlin Clark's popularity, making it clear she had no interest in giving the rookie any credit. But Carter isn't the only one with sharp words. A'ja Wilson, a two-time league MVP and one of the most respected players in the WNBA, also chimed in. While she stayed away from outright hostility, her tone was cold and dismissive. When asked about Caitlin being considered the greatest college player of all time, Wilson shrugged it off, citing a lack of championships as proof Clark didn't belong in that conversation. But let's call it like it is. This isn't just about titles, this is about a new face rising fast, too fast for some, and stealing the spotlight. And when that spotlight starts to shift, even veterans can feel the heat. Dismissing Clark's accomplishments isn't about measuring trophies, it's about protecting turf. Caitlin's success is undeniable, but for some, her rapid rise feels like a threat, not just to reputations, but to the established order of the league itself.
Ooh, that's tough because you got to win one. I feel like that college is one of those spaces where you got to win one for them to even have your name in the conversation. And it took me 3 years to win mine, so it's hard. But congratulations to her.
First glance, some of the comments aimed at Caitlin Clark might seem mild but scratch the surface, and the envy starts to show. Let's be honest, it's not just criticism, it's resistance to a new era led by a star who's risen too high, too fast for some to handle. Clark's resume speaks for itself. She led Iowa to back-to-back national championship appearances, electrified fans with jaw-dropping performances, and rewrote record books along the way. No, she didn't win the title, but neither did many legends now celebrated without question. The backlash isn't about logic or fair play. It's about control, about veterans and former greats trying to hold the spotlight. just a little longer, and when Caitlin and A'ja Wilson eventually meet head-to-head in next season's WNBA showdown, all eyes will be on whether Wilson can back up her words with action. But it's not just current players chiming in. Even retired stars are jumping into the conversation, some appearing more interested in reclaiming relevance than offering fair insight. Without a career to risk, these voices often hit the hardest and the pettiest. Take Lynette Woodard, once the NCAA's all-time leading scorer. When Caitlin shattered that record, Woodard couldn't hide her disapproval. Instead of celebrating a historic moment, she downplayed Clark's achievement, making it clear that envy still echoes, even decades later. For Clark, it's just another obstacle in a career already defined by breaking barriers. And the louder the critics get, the more her spotlight shines.
The record was hidden from everyone for 43 years. I don't think, I'll just go ahead and get the elephant out of the room. I don't think my record has been broken because you can't duplicate what you're not duplicating. So unless you come with a men's basketball and a two-point shot.
When LeBron James broke the NBA's all-time scoring record, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, whose record had stood for nearly 40 years, was right there to congratulate him. No ego, no bitterness, just respect from one legend to another. Now compare that to how some former women's basketball stars have reacted to Caitlin Clark's rise. Instead of praise, we get cold shoulders and subtle digs. Rather than celebrating a new chapter in the sport, there's an odd reluctance to even acknowledge Clark as a legitimate force. Take Lynette Woodard, for example. When Clark broke her all-time NCAA scoring record, Woodard didn't offer a warm welcome to the club. Instead, her response felt more like a veiled jab. No real explanation, just a tone that hinted more at resentment than respect. And it doesn't stop there. Critics who dismiss Clark's impact often use shaky arguments to downplay even her most impressive feats. When her stats can't be denied, they pivot to financial angles. Much has been made about the gap between her former six-figure nil endorsements in college and her current WNBA rookie salary, which is still shockingly in the five-figure range. By all accounts, Caitlin Clark is underpaid, wildly so for someone who's arguably the face of the league. Yet WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert doesn't quite see it that way. Instead of acknowledging the imbalance, she sidestepped the issue, offering vague explanations about collective bargaining and long-term growth. But the optics are hard to ignore. A player who's bringing in record-breaking viewership and attention to the league is being compensated like a rookie role player. It's a disconnect that fans and sponsors are starting to question loudly.
Caitlin has the ability to make up to $500,000 just in WNBA wages this year. So, of course, they're just looking at a base which is collectively bargained. And actually, it's low because she's the #1 pick. She'll make a little more than that. But she also has millions and millions of dollars of endorsements.
I think the WNBA would be doing everything possible to elevate Caitlin Clark, especially considering how much she's done for the league. The revenue spike, the packed arenas, the record-breaking viewership, all of it traces back to her decision to go pro, and yet, Clark's endorsement money, earned through years of building her own brand, is being used as a shield to justify her surprisingly low rookie salary. But here's the thing. That money isn't owed to the league. It's hers, and the financial benefits the WNBA is enjoying, those are thanks to her. Still, Commissioner Cathy Engelbert has remained largely unmoved. In public interviews, she's stuck to the company line, brushing off concerns as if the sudden explosion of interest in women's basketball is just business as usual. But her comments suggest a deeper disconnect from both Clark's value and the bigger opportunity at hand. To make matters worse, the league hasn't exactly gone out of its way to spotlight its biggest star. While Caitlin continues to bring eyes and dollars to the WNBA, the promotional effort around her feels muted. The league is cashing in, but Clark isn't being positioned front and center the way a generational talent should be. And it's not just league officials missing the mark. Even some media figures who clearly benefit from Clark's rise have stumbled. One of the more puzzling moments came during an episode of the Pat McAfee show, The Loud, unfiltered sports talk juggernaut, known for saying what others won't. But when McAfee weighed in on Clark's role among this year's rookie class, his comments raised eyebrows. Despite Clark's clear impact, his tone veered into dismissive territory. For a player driving a once-in-a-generation surge in popularity, it was a bizarre and unnecessary undercut. The message was clear. Even when Clark is carrying the league forward, there are still some eager to minimize her presence.
What the WNBA currently has is what we like to describe as a cash cow. There is a superstar. And we're not saying that the players on the court need to act any differently. That's the athletes are going to do what athletes are going to do in any sport. And I think we're all learning that WNBA, that's old school football, baby. That is old school football. But I would like the media people that continue to say, this rookie class, this rookie class, this rookie class. Nah, just call it for what it is. There's one white bitch for the Indiana team who is a superstar.
Let's be clear, no one's asking players to change how they compete. The intensity, the grit, the physicality. That's sports. That's what makes the WNBA compelling. But where things get messy is off the court, especially in the media. Commentary swirling around this rookie class. Enter Pat McAfee. On his show, known for its no-filter takes, McAfee tried to single Caitlin Clark out from the rest of the rookie class. But instead of building her up with facts or praise, his comments veered into uncomfortable territory. Referring to Clark as the one white player from Indiana wasn't just lazy, it was inappropriate, whether intended or not. McAfee's wording struck a nerve, especially given the already sensitive racial undertones that have followed Clark. Throughout her rise, as a public figure with a massive audience, McAfee should have known better. Being white, like Clark, doesn't excuse the slip, it amplifies the need for awareness. Because when someone in his position speaks, people listen, dissect, and replay. This isn't just about one poor choice of words. It's part of a bigger issue, how the national media continues to frame Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise as a racial narrative pitting her, often unintentionally,